Greetings. By virtue of your presence watching this video today, I want you to know that we consider you to be an extended member of our family at Unity in Linwood. We believe that you are an individualized expression of that one creative impetus which stands behind all life, and as such we celebrate the uniqueness which you are, and we celebrate our unity with you. We are glad you're with us.
9 o'clock. He gets away with saying, "You will enjoy my presence." I just think that's marvelous. You're back again. Perhaps you will enjoy my... I will stop there. We got a call from Atmanambi's people a couple weeks ago. He said, we'll be in the area. We would love to come be with you at Unity in Linwood. We said we would enjoy your presence. So on September 8th, he'll be with us for 2 events comprising Living Here Now. The Satsang portion is offered at $35. The Heart Chakra Initiation offered at $50. We would ask only that you register in the back if you're interested. Pay at the door on that evening. As a reminder, we have opened registration for our first annual men's retreat, at least first annual in my tenure, and that is the weekend of November 2 through 4. It'll be facilitated by Reverend Michael Bogar. There are informational postcards in the back. You are welcome to visit the Welcome and Information Station. Ask any number of gentlemen questions. Daniel Kalfas, John Previty, Tim Vokes are the steering committee for this great opportunity. New members. If you would like to become a formal member of this evolving idea we call Unity in Linwood, Sunday, September 2nd, join me in my office following this service for an experience I call the Basics of Unity. Understand the 5 largely agreed upon tenets of this particular movement and the history that has brought us to this juncture. That'll be followed by a reception held in your honor on Friday, September 7th. Meet your board, meet your staff, meet other leaders, meet each other, and have some great food. New Members Sunday will be the 9th. It's a very safe ritual in which you are welcomed into formal membership. Your Board of Trustees is charged with the macro financial management of Unity in Linwood, and they do a great, great job. If you have an opportunity to thank a trustee, please do so. As part of our annual budgeting process, we host a major gala every year. It is scheduled for the last Saturday in October. This year we have 2 co-chairs who will offer an introduction to this event. It will fund a major building repair. If you have not noticed, you have a gorgeous new sign out front. You have a beautifully painted building. The completion of that project actually occurred this past week. What we have discovered, however, through engineering is that our sidewalks and part of our parking lot are, well, sinking. We don't think they should sink. I mean, it's just it's part of our belief system in Unity that so there is a noble purpose to this year's event. Here to offer an introduction are this year's co-chairs, Terry Kalfas and Sandy Gares. Would you come talk to these people, and would you welcome them, please? Better? We got it. We got it.
So I am going to use the podium. So yes, this year's benefit auction here, the theme for it is from Alice in Wonderland. It's the Mad Hatter Gala. And I have heard that this is one of the biggest and funnest events that we have here at Unity. And so we'd like to invite you to attend. It's going to be a fun-filled evening with fundraising and, look at my cart, engaging in friendly battling in the silent and live auctions that we're going to be having. And we're going to enjoy delicious food and drinks and good fellowship and be able to raise some funds to support this very critical repairs that we need. So you're not going to want to miss out, and we have several ways for you to participate. One of them is a sponsorship. You can just sponsor, and we have several sponsorship levels and fun gifts to go along with each of those levels, as well as a pledge form for that sponsorship, and that information will be in the back on the table there. You can find out more information about that. And another way is you can donate auction items. We're looking for goods and services that will make this auction a fun and successful event. And also in the back, whoops, there goes that. We have procurement ideas and guidelines. If you're not sure what you'd like to donate, you can take a look at that information back there as well. You can also procure donation items from other businesses who might like to advertise within our wonderful community and support us in that way. You can purchase a ticket to the gala, which you're going to want to do, or you can volunteer. So one or all or many of these ways you can participate. And all this information is in the back table back there. Terry and I will be there to answer any questions.
And tickets will be $40 each, and they will go on sale in September. We both have forms, or you could buy tickets online. So that's it. Thank you so much.
Yay. Isn't that a great piece? I mean, that's just clever. No, I did not do that. There will be music. No.
Not today.
Every service has an ambassador. This person's role is to support you in your exploration and discovery of this divine, evolving, unfolding idea we call unity in Linwood. If you have a question about whether there will be music or not, you're welcome to direct it. If you have a question about what we believe, about what we teach, about what is available to you as you explore your place in this evolving, unfolding idea, you're welcome to engage her in conversation. You will not be sorry that you did. She is truly a noble and enlightened soul, a dear friend. Am I overstepping? That's enough? Nan Allen, will you wave to these kind people, please? Nan Allen is your 11 o'clock ambassador. Good morning, Nan Allen. Practical spirituality, welcoming community, an admittedly short mission statement that speaks volumes. Practical spirituality, welcoming community. I like to support this every week with one of the 6 bullet points, which we developed in conversation with your Board of Trustees beginning in late 2014. So take a deep breath with me. Chosen by a highly scientific method, this week's bullet point is the following. It reads as follows: we welcome people from all spiritual traditions and from no spiritual tradition whatsoever into every activity of our community. Fair enough? Okay. 2 members have passed beyond our sight of late. Longtime Unity in Linwood member Aladine Jenkins made her transition on June 8th. And Marjorie Barnett made her transition on August 4th. In the words of the poet, death is nothing at all. It doesn't count. I have only slipped away into the next room. Nothing has happened. Everything remains exactly as it was. I am I, and you are you. And the old life that we lived so fondly together is untouched, unchanged. Whatever we were to each other, that we still are. So call me by the old familiar name. Speak of me in the easy way which you always used. Put no difference in your tone. Wear no forced air of solemnity or sorrow. Laugh as we always laughed at the little jokes we enjoyed together. Play and smile. Think of me. Pray for me. Let my name be ever the household word that it always was. Let it be spoken without effort, without the ghost of a shadow upon it. Life means all that it ever meant. It's the same as it ever was. There is absolute and unbroken continuity. Why should I be out of mind simply because I'm out of sight? I'm just waiting for you, for an interval somewhere very near, just around the corner, and all is well. So let's pause for a moment, and let's close our outer eyes to that world that would imply separation. Let's follow the breath to that expansive inner space that knows a higher truth. And to that soul that is Aladdin, and to that soul that is Marjorie, vibrant, whole, well, on purpose. We don't say goodbye, but farewell. And Godspeed. 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 And so it is. I had a dream about you last week. This is a true story. I mean, all of my stories are true. This is a factual story. I had a dream about you. I think it's an anxiety dream. Does anyone have anxiety dreams? It's a performer's thing. It usually involves nudity. This one didn't. I'm quite certain it has to do with this newfound foray into extemporaneous speaking. Nonetheless, I came to church on a Sunday morning and I looked at you and you looked at me, and after an extended period of mutual looking, I said, "So what do you want to talk about now?" And that was the dream. I mean, that was the end of it. So, what do you... No, I won't do that. Unity offers a very real gift in moments such as these, because unity would say that you are not that bag of carbon and atoms that you tote around during your earthly sojourn. That is not the highest definition of you. Unity would say that you are soul stuff, eternally growing, developing, unfolding. Unity would say that you rode the currents of life into this earthly experience. You will ride the currents of life out of this earthly experience. You are not defined by an incarnation. That's a real gift, because suddenly we face moments of earthly death and we can perceive them from a higher perspective and realize that death is really one of earthly life's greatest illusions, often leveraged to be a complete waste of time and energy. When we come to understand that we are not bodies, we come to embrace that we are not our races, we are not our ethnicities, we are not our genders, we are not our orientations. We come to understand that we are soul stuff, that we are individualized expressions of the one life that expresses itself continuously as all life. When we get to that place, suddenly we come to realize that our racism is merely a byproduct of poor vision, that our ageism is merely a byproduct of poor vision, that the gender conversation is really quite ridiculous, and the orientation conversation is completely absurd. So it's a great gift that unity gives by saying you are not this body. Your body is a reflection of a soul doing a soul's work. You are soul, eternally unfolding, developing, growing. When we orient to a perspective in which we come to believe that we are bodies, I pulled this quote. I think it's to orient towards Shakespeare's Macbeth, the great line that says, "Life is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing at all." When we come to believe, or when we are oriented to this level of reality, which is an honor to be here. I mean, let me be crystal clear. It is an honor to be here in Forum. It is an honor to hear the music of Bach in the early morning. It is an honor to hug a loved one. It is an honor to hear one another. It's an honor to hug a beloved. It's an honor to be here. I don't discount it. At this level of reality, however, when we come to identify with it and accept it as the highest truth, we come to a question that goes something like this. Well, when will I die then? When will I die? It's an understandable conclusion to a limited perspective. When, however, we lift that perspective into a higher orientation of soul, we come to a new question that goes something more along these lines. When will I live then? When will I live? It was Martin Luther King Jr. who said it this way. Just going to push that out of the way. It was Martin Luther King Jr. who said it this way. He said, existence is what you get when you pick up a body. We all have existence. He said, that's not life. A life is something you create. It's something you make. Existence is what we get when we check into an incarnation. Life, oh, it's so much more than that. The Rabbi Jesus of the Christian tradition said that I have come that you might know life and know it abundantly. And if I would challenge a reorientation toward this particular teaching and toward the entirety of his recorded message, it would be this. He was fascinated with our earthly walk together. We have created a paradigm in which we have projected him to be teaching about what happens when we lay the earthly body down. I have to tell you, he wasn't that interested in the afterlife. When he spoke about the kingdom of heaven, when he spoke about, I have come that you might have life and have it abundantly, he was talking about you right here, right now in this room. He was talking about the relationship you share with the soul who sits to your right. And he was talking about the relationship you share with the soul who sits to your left. He was talking about the quality of life that we are able to create together, here and now. Now that's a game-changing idea, isn't it? Because when we are oriented toward the idea that he was teaching about the afterlife, it certainly lacks an immediacy. But when we come to grasp the idea that he was teaching us how to be together in earth school, the entirety of his recorded teaching takes an immediacy that it lacked to that point, don't you think? So I've come that you might have life and have it abundantly. If that means something to me, not behind pearly gates and on the streets of gold, but if that means something to me in my earthly walk, then what does that mean? You arrive at the inevitable and obvious question of the morning, and I've taken the liberty of giving you some thoughts around that. I have 5 ideas. And quite honestly, I just meditated on that idea. What could that possibly mean? What could that possibly mean if I reorient to the question, how then am I to live? And I looked at my own life, and so I'm going to give you a little peek into my own life. Are you prepared for that? What are you going to say? Now, what's interesting about these 5 points, what does it mean to be alive, is after the first 4 came to me, I realized that there was an acronym rising, which just amuses me. I mean, I just love that. So perhaps you will pick up on it. Well, watch for it. Watch for it. See if you can get it before you get it. What does it mean to be alive then? I've come that you might have life, have it abundantly. You are unfolding eternal, infinite soul stuff, having a temporary experience in earthly form. What does it mean then to live? For me, number 1, adventure, baby. Adventure. If you are eternally unfolding, growing, developing soul stuff, where exactly is there room for stagnation, boredom, and mediocrity? How many have had that experience where you, that moment even where, oh man, if I could sell everything I own and go to a distant, remote island where no one knows me. Anybody? Anybody? Okay. 4 people. That's good. That's good. This is such a cherished part of my walk that I've actually done that. I sold everything I owned and I moved to Hawaii. I thought, you know what? I can search for my soul in Hawaii, or I can search for my soul in Iowa. Hawaii is better. Adventure is really quite a counter-cultural idea. You know, we are living in the aftermath of an industrial age in which children were sent to school with matching little lunch boxes and put in straight little lines and trained to become regurgitating little automatons of task. So that they go to the factory with their big lunch boxes and essentially fall back in line and do exactly what they are told. Adventure is the stuff of your spiritual DNA, and it is completely counter-cultural. Adventure. How many of you took a different way to work last week? Thank you. That's where it starts. Number 2, Love. Number 2 is love. And we tend to think of the soul who is seated next to us. Rather, I would ask us to consider this as being a quality of beingness that is applied to the lives that we live. And yes, of course, that includes the person who is sitting next to us. But love, how often do we stop and appreciate the small things? I look at these trees. You know, it was the Dalai Lama who said we tend to spend our health making money until such time as we have to start spending our money to regain our health. He said that we tend to spend our todays ruminating about some imagined tomorrow until we arrive at the point at which we realize that we have lost both today and tomorrow. Love, a quality of beingness that applies to how we walk on our earthly path. In the words of so many country western icons, when was the last time that you did stop and smell the proverbial roses? Love, a quality of beingness with which we walk our earthly paths. Inspiration. Don't spoil it. Can't stop it. Well played. Well played. Inspiration. If you can entertain this reorientation, that you are not flesh and bone, but that you are an expression of an infinite thinker, how often do we stop and listen? How often do we stop and listen? You realize that we are training children in college 4-year programs for jobs that do not yet exist. You know, we are making this shift in education. We used to think that children were educated on what to think, right? We now know better. We don't have time to educate children on what to think. We educate children to think. We educate children to be inspired, because the careers for which we train our children, they won't be here in 4 years. Change is happening that fast. Inspiration. Oh. Yes. Vision. You're just practically gloating at this point, John. Vision, it speaks to what is it that gets you out of bed in the morning? Do you live from a sense of purpose? Do you live from a sense of purpose? What inspires you? Do you live from that? And of course, the fifth one has to do entirely with expression. It's one thing to know the adventure, to cultivate the love, to avail ourselves to the inspiration, to cultivate the vision. Are we willing to step into it? Are we willing to step into it? This is a great unity idea. I mean, these are really unity's 5 principles right here. It's one thing to know all of this. It's one thing to come on a Sunday morning and to enjoy all of this and to delight in truly excellent company. Truly excellent company. It's another thing to step into it. It's another thing to live it. Aretha. The year was 1998. I don't know how many know this story. I look at this and I look at her passing this past week and I think, she's showing us. She's showing us. The year was 1998. She was backstage at the Grammys. She was standing with Luciano Pavarotti, the great Italian tenor. How many already know the story? Okay, the same 4 people as before. That's great. That's all right. standing backstage with Luciano Pavarotti, great Italian tenor. He's on the telephone with his doctor. He has a throat malady, and he is to sing the great tenor aria from Turandot. It's known as Nessun Dorma. It's great work by Puccini if you don't know it. And as the conversation went, there's Aretha, there's Luciano, and the doctor pulls the plug and says, don't do it. Don't do it. So the orchestra is ready. There are, of course, a few million people watching, and Aretha Franklin says, let me listen to the rehearsal track. Let me listen to the rehearsal track. And so Luciano Pavarotti gives her the rehearsal track. Aretha Franklin listens to it. Listens to it once. She's never worked with the conductor before. There's been no rehearsal. And she says, I'm willing. I'm willing. And so I think about these 5 ideas. I think about adventure. I think about vision. Oh, my heavens, I think about expression. I think about that willingness to step into it. Oh, this is a moment. This is a moment. I want to share it with you.
Nessun dorma, nessun dorma. Tu pure, o principessa, nella tua fredda stanza, guardi le stelle che tremano d'amore e di speranza. Within my heart, my secret lies, and what his name is, none shall know, none, till on thy eyes I confess it. Soon as morning light shall oh, Prince, then shall my kisses break the silence that made thee mine. Dile
adventure and love and inspiration and vision and the willingness to step into it. You may or may not like Aretha Franklin singing Puccini, but I'm here to tell you that's what living looks like. That's what living looks like. What's missing from this particular piece of footage is that when she concluded, this random young child appeared from nowhere and sidled up to Aretha. And you can see him look up to her and say, "I love you." And she looks down at this random child and says, "I love you too." It was a beautiful moment. I wish you could have seen it. Take a deep breath with me. Let's come into the high and holy knowing that God is. Let's come into the high and holy knowing that there are higher realities and those which can be revealed through the five senses. There are higher wisdom, higher life, higher love, higher sufficiency. And that because there can be no spot where this higher reality is void, we come to accept that it's here. And it's now. So using our faculties of imagination, let's just imagine ourselves breathing in what that means, breathing in life, breathing in love, bringing in that sufficiency to any apparent need, bringing in that wisdom even amidst an experience of confusion, incompletion, and continuing to use those faculties of imagination. If there would be any lesser idea, let's just imagine those arguments being breathed out, dissolving back into the nothingness from which they arose, knowing that they have no life of their own when subjected to the very light of God truth. So we allow this new knowing, we allow this higher orientation to soften the eyes, to slow the breath, to uncurl the fingers, even the toes. And we imagine the powerful, causative light of this awareness we imagine it joining with the light of the one who sits next to us. And expanding even further, joining with others, until indeed this entire communion of souls becomes a veritable beacon. Good it is to be. And how good it is to be together. So for the privilege of walking this higher awareness into a world that longs to remember. For the privilege of walking this light into the shadows which are eager to dissipate in your presence. We just allow a gentle gratitude to rise. in this consciousness of gratitude. We close this time together. Simply by speaking, and so it is, and so it is, and so it is.
Thanks again for joining us. Please visit unityandlinwood.org for a preview of all upcoming classes, services, and events, and for an opportunity to make a gift to our community should you so choose. Thank you.